Boys, you know when you hear that noise, it's time to get to chatting. Boston has entered the chat. Why, hello there. Travis Thomas, George Valecki making the actual noise here inside the PNC Bank studio. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Good start to the week after the end of last week.
I was hoping for a victory Monday with the Patriots.
It's not even that. This is what I expected. This is what I expect. I didn't like that last play. We'll get into that.
Well, you thought the game would be a blowout coming into it. At least we got a good game.
It was good towards the end. Yeah, it was tight towards the end, but like Rams were in control. A couple mistakes by them kept it open. I'm doing great, though, my man. I'm back at the desk with you.
Well, of course, we need to hear from you, too. He's back at the desk with me, but we're with you, and we need to hear from you. 617-790-0928. Also, email us, the chat at nesson.com. So we will break down that Patriots loss to the Rams. We also have the latest on Juan Soto being courted by the Red Sox. We'll start there in a minute. And, of course, we'll preview tonight's game with the Texans at Jerry's World taking on the Cowboys. But first, let's get into this Juan Soto talk. Now, here on What's Trending, to set the stage for the show, usually we have 3 minutes on the clock. We talk about the topic, and then we move on. But for this Soto Red Sox story, it's so juicy, we doubled the time so we can get everything in. Let's go 6 minutes here, GB. You'll bat leadoff. Of course, quote, the Sox had a productive meeting with Soto. What are you thinking here, man? Because there's other suitors as well, of course, as we take a look at this tweet. I mean, there's other suitors here meeting with Soto, Mets, Yankees, etc. Is this Red Sox thing real? Is this going to happen, George? Is this our lives?
What's important is that the 4 people in attendance to meet with Juan Soto from the Red Sox is Tom Werner, is Sam Kennedy, Craig Breslow, and Alex Cora.
Heavy hitters.
Exactly. Tom Werner being one of the principal owners of the Red Sox as well. But to have the general manager, the president and CEO, and the manager all there to meet with Juan Soto and Scott Boras. And how the meeting's going to go is it was Blue Jays first, then Red Sox, Mets, Yankees. Those are the 4. And for them to say it was productive, they met with him 3 hours, not just laying out the money they'll give him, where no formal offer was made, but more of a presentation. This is all per Mass Live's Chris Cotillo, by the way. But no formal offer made, more of a presentation of this is where you fit, this is what we bring, these are our stars, our prospects, this is our current studs, our stars now. So here's the current situation of the team, here's the future. And at 26 years old, I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine that contract is 12 plus years. Right?
Yeah.
I'm in thinking it's 15 years long, which I'd be fine with because you're going to get 10 to 12 great years of Juan Soto with his bat out of this contract. I would go 15, and I would be fine with it. Whatever the annual salary is, whatever the length of the contract is, I keep coming back to it is worth it because at 26 years old, it's not 30. At 26 years old, you're getting the best hitter in baseball.
Yeah.
And as you've seen up close in D.C., as we all watched throughout the playoffs, he is the star of the biggest moments in baseball.
Yeah.
So he would step in and be a leader for the Red Sox. He'd be the face of the team as well. He would be the man. And also what's important too is that where Boston falls in this, where he's from the Dominican Republic, and outside of the majority population of Boston, of course, being white, 6%, the next largest minority population is the Dominican Republic. You go south of the city, Roslindale, Hyde Park, JP, you just go in that area, a lot of Dominican restaurants, a lot of Dominican residents of the city of Boston. A guy would come here, be the face, be the biggest star in that locker room, and also feel at home at least where there's that taste of home nearby as well.
Yeah, you said it all. Allegedly the Red Sox pitch to him also included their great history with Dominican players as well, which I'm sure helps. And I think you said it all. Look, you and I argued about this on the last Boston Has Entered the Chat, where I said, if you're telling me the offseason is either Juan Soto or you can allocate what you would pay a Juan Soto and go get a couple of arms to start for this team, maybe even another bat of lesser degree of a Juan Soto, I would take option B. And then all the comments went hard on me saying, well, why can't you have both? Why can't you get an arm and Juan Soto? But for context, we were arguing either or. I think if you're going to get Juan Soto, if you're the Red Sox, I still, even though I'll do backflips down the hallway here at Nesson if they sign him, I still believe you need a quality arm or two starting on this team as pitchers because Juan Soto's great and George is right. I covered this guy when he won a World Series. He's clutch. Everything you said is true. To this day, he gets timely hits. He's the man. He could be the man here. He should be the face of the Red Sox if they make this signing. I still don't think you win anything if your pitching's not better. That's just me.
And that's fine. But they're so far under that first tax threshold that they can't afford Juan Soto.
You can do both.
And if you trade for like a Garrett Crochet, who after arbitration is going to make under $5 million a year, but that's the elite arm. Like, and then on top of that, you can add an elite arm, and you have to figure out when you pay everyone. But the room is there. It's not. It should not be one or the other.
Yeah.
It is a team that's 81 and 81, has some guys that are ahead of schedule. Rafaela, a Duran,
their
Will
lineup would be
Abreu.
nasty.
You have him hitting second, even though it's another lefty bat. And you need a righty bat. It does not
that
matter.
lineup's nasty.
I think he would have had. I was checking Baseball Savant. I'm pretty sure he would have had 45 home runs if he was hitting at Fenway this season.
Here's my other issue with it. Okay, it's not that I don't want him. I just don't know if he makes it out of New York. And I'm not just talking Yankees. I'm talking Mets, too. Because
Mets
allegedly
are the biggest player in this
the Mets made the biggest pitch. I feel like in a lot of ways the Mets are going to be the team that pays the most because that's what the Mets – they don't care. They print money. They're trying to take headlines away from the Yankees. And with a team in the Yankees that just made the World Series – what's the best way to do it if you're the Mets? Who, by the way, they were in the playoffs in their own right. They were hot. They just kind of ran out of their own momentum, right? But if the best thing you can do if you're close, if you're the Mets, and you can take headlines away in that town, is to get a Juan Soto. Something tells me, power rankings-wise, it's probably Mets 1, and then maybe the Sox would be 2. Maybe he's looking at the Sox as an opportunity. You know, he did the Yankee thing. They came up short in the World Series. I don't know enough in that town to know if he loved being a Yankee or not. But, you know, I could see maybe the Sox sort of leapfrogging the Yankees there. But I just don't know. I feel like it being New York, that big market, the money, it just feels like the Mets are going to be the team to me.
And it sounded like the Mets meeting went really well. New York on Monday is the final one. Then they go from there.
The Yankees is the final one,
Yankees are the final one. Thank you. Yes. Mets meeting went well. They met him in California. I assume the Yankees would be doing the same thing.
Right.
And it's the same thing. The power brokers of the Mets bet as they spend. And same thing.
Yeah.
The Mets, Dominican Republic, and just a Latina population is very big in New York. It's Mets or Red Sox. To me, those are the top 2 teams.
Well, then you go to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't you? If that's a scenario, and we'll see who it is. My gut says the Mets, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, how about this? We both watched this over the weekend. Tyson, Jake Paul. Boy, the memes, the tweets, the everything from this fight. I watched it with our esteemed producer, the walking, talking triple-double, Ante Campbell. And I got to tell you, we were not entertained. It was an awful fight. But Netflix,
it was terrible.
Netflix says
it was awful.
60
on
million households worldwide. Mr. Worldwide tuned in for this fight.
But that doesn't even include like illegal streams. That doesn't include 6.6 million people watching Antonio Brown live stream it on Instagram.
What?
He pointed his phone at the Jumbotron in AT&T Stadium, the big screen. 6.6 million people watched Antonio Brown.
Stream.
Well, the Netflix servers were awful.
Yeah.
The Netflix absolutely, it was terrible. And this is their audition. They have some Christmas Day games for the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm watching with my buddy. I'm going, when it kept freezing, I go, this is terrible because Netflix will be a part of live sports broadcast. And they were not prepared and not ready to handle. Broadcast was terrible. Play-by-play guide was good. Rosie Perez, look, White Man Can't Jump is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Don't you slander Rosie.
Gloria is one of my all-time crushes.
Don't you slander her.
She should not be doing color. She's into boxing. She should not be doing color. Roy Jones Jr. was terrible, too.
Couldn't talk.
The fight was awful, man. I watched someone beat up someone's grandpa for 8 rounds. Look, look. This is how I did. This is how I looked at it. Kate Taylor Serrano fight, phenomenal.
Fantastic.
My boy and I were watching it. We were loving it. We felt great. From Tyson and Paul, from start to finish, we said maybe 5 words. It ended. I got up and go, I got to go home. I feel dirty. I need a shower. It felt wrong, bro. It was bad.
It was terrible. I mean, I wonder what the difference was between watching at home and watching in a bar. You had the home experience. My wife was texting me from home, saying it was buffering. She was trying to watch all the fights, and it kept freezing. But at the bars, it was crystal clear. But at the same time, we didn't hear the audio of the calls like you did.
It was terrible.
It looked terrible. I mean, Cedric the Entertainer, what are we doing, bro? He was dressed like he was in Coming to America. Like, relax, okay?
I like the sunglasses, though.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't like anything he had on. It looked horrendous to me, but I couldn't hear it the same way. But I'll give the bars credit. I don't know if it's Netflix Premium or something. What am I missing here? But it was crystal clear.
Look, man, when they put those NFL games on, and the audition is regular season, gets to playoffs, eventually, obviously, Super Bowls will leave Fox and CBS, and it'll be bidding wars.
Sure.
They dropped the ball on that one, but we'll see. You see who said I'm next?
Who?
Steve Gleason, New Orleans Saints.
Come on.
Legend, yeah. So there was a tweet of like, who's he going to fight next? Steve Gleason. He quote tweeted, he said, name the time and place. Hashtag no white flags.
No white flags.
Look, man, Steve Gleason, he's dealing with ALS, but as we've seen, Jake Paul only fights people that can't fight back. So, and if it's a $20 million check, good for Steve Gleason.
I think it's Conor McGregor, and it's going to be another circus freak show. You watch.
I'm not watching the next one.
How about this? In the NFL, the Bears lose again. 2019 on a blocked field goal against the Packers. 4 straight losses for them now. But it was the offensive coordinator's time, right? I mean, it was his fault. He had to go.
He definitely
coach
did.
Stays somehow. Unbelievable.
Well, I mean, look, you hold the Packers to 20 points. You do a good job defensively. But this offense is still the personnel, and they can't get it right. I mean, shout out, I believe Thomas Brown is his name. Took over play calling for Shane Waldron.
Yes.
And he's a branch off the Sean McVay coaching tree. So I wasn't surprised to see the offense get an uptick. And obviously you see those players playing a vindication.
Still lost.
Entertaining game, yeah. Packers with a hand on the last second field goal attempt, and it went off the crossbar.
That's crazy.
The Bears, man. It's tough being a Bears fan. They suck.
It's tough sledding for them.
They suck.
I do think Caleb played a little bit better. But
he did.
It's just...
Are they the biggest letdown?
To me personally, yes, because I went all in on them. I had a ticket. I had over on their win total. I thought they'd make the playoffs.
Yeah, I
For
did
me
too.
personally, yes.
Yeah.
But I got pushback making those bets with the people I talk to and I trust about football, such as yourself. You weren't low on them, but a lot of people pushed back with my sort of conviction that this team was going to be any good. And they said, look, the Bears are going to bear. And that's what happens now is they have this brand of they can't get right at quarterback. They can't get right at offense. They continue
to play good defensively.
Of course, but they continue to hire defensive coaches.
Oh, yeah.
That's the issue, I think.
Yeah.
It's the same thing the Patriots are sort of dealing with, where I'm like, you have these young quarterbacks. Why wouldn't you want to spin it forward and come into the present and the future and have an offensive-minded system?
Bingo.
But that's not what they did.
Nope.
At least credit to the Bears. Yes, they have a defensive head coach.
Yeah.
But they draft this kid and they surround him. I mean, I don't know what the excuses are. We don't do Chicago sports talk. But I can't imagine there's a lot of excuses for this team. Like, they have weapons. They have everything this kid needs to be successful. New England, I mean, you kidding me? We'll get to them in a second. But hey, Drake May, this is what we got, man. Like, make it happen. He's MacGyver out here. So the Bears have no excuses. To answer your question, yes, I am extremely disappointed in this team.
Yeah.
Because in a wide open NFC, George, I think what I predicted should be happening, I thought they'd be a wild card team. And it's there to be had. They're just not good enough to do it.
Yeah. And I like you say, everything they surrounded him with. I mean, between Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen in this game, 17 catches, almost 170 receiving yards combined between the two of them.
Yeah.
All of them averaging over 8.5 yards a catch. I mean, that's what you want from them.
There.
Look, the way they drafted, like getting in Dunze, would I have done it? No. They could have just, held on to Darnell Mooney, honestly.
Yeah.
And they could have used an offensive lineman with that 9th pick, but they're building up a Rams-esque setup. 3 good receivers, a lot of 11 personnel. You have the quarterback that can do it. They still ran the ball. DeAndre Swift was good.
He was.
This team, man, and you got Jordan Love on an okay game. Only threw the ball 17 times. I mean, the elements, it was what you expect in Chicago. The Bears, man, they just stink.
They stink.
They're a letdown to me because they should have been closer in the playoff picture. Now falling to 4-6.
That's what I'm saying.
They got a long way to go. But I still believe in Caleb. I still believe in this roster. Ryan Poles, you need to get right on the head coach.
and hire an offensive-minded head coach. I agree. All right, let's go to Patriots-Rams here. By the way, get involved in our conversation, would you? 617-790-0928. That is a Boston has entered the chat hotline. Make it bling. Leave us your messages. We play them on the show. You can also email us, thechat@nesson.com. All right, we've alluded to it. Let's get into it. Patriots lose 28-22 at home to the Rams.
Yeah.
At times, it felt like this game was getting away from the Pats. It was going to be a blowout. And sure enough, they just kept hanging in there, kept fighting hard. Yeah. In the end, I don't know about you, George, but it just feels like they just aren't good enough. I don't think the Rams are some great team, but I think the Rams have a ton of talent. I think they have an elite head coach.
Yep,
really an elite quarterback too.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Elite wide receivers.
Yes.
But
they have a good
still,
run game.
They're trying to figure it out as a team. Still, I don't think they're an elite team yet.
The defense is
potential.
Yeah.
But in the end, that's sort of what it felt like watching that game. It's like the Patriots are scrappy, spirited, tough out. We talk about it every week. Sometimes they win some games against bad teams, but this is a kind of game where you can really feel, okay, Drake May, we're cooking with something here. We already knew that. But there's not a ton around him right now. There's not a ton around him. And that's on a day that I thought everyone played pretty well. And it's still, they just don't have the horses, George, the Patriots.
Yeah, and this is a Rams offense that started out like punting the ball twice, then could have scored on 5 straight drives, but take out a missed field goal on that. But there was just no resistance from this Patriots defense. No. And the Patriots dominated in possession against this Rams team where they had the ball the bulk of the game, 37 minutes compared to just 22.
Yeah.
But when the Rams offense got it, I mean, as a team, they were averaging over 8 yards per play. Yeah. They only faced 8 third downs the entire game. And there were 2 separate drives that really stuck out to me when the Rams were driving down. But it was their, 80-yard scoring drive, 9 plays, 80 yards. They had a successful play, 7 of the 8 plays on that. And there's just no resistance. Only one that wasn't successful was a no gain, but they had big plays like a 25-yard throw. We saw Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp combine for over 200 receiving yards. And we saw Christian Gonzalez continually be on the boundary with Demarcus Robinson. And this is when, like you said it, coaching is the difference here, where Matt Stafford was great against the blitz. Yeah. Well, they blitzed him 63% of his dropbacks, and he just lit him up.
That's right.
Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Yeah, Kupp had a 69-yard catch. We also had 2 touchdowns. Puka Nacua was killing him softly, a lot of catches and receiving yards. They were going off, and Christian Gonzalez was on the outside. When the offense struggled the first 2 drives, what does Sean McVay do? Start motioning guys before the snap, bring them inside, match them up with a Marcus Jones or a Jonathan Jones or the smaller defensive backs, get them away from Gonzalez, and they ate him up. There was a lack of adjustments made by Gerard Mayo.
Yes.
And there was Sean McVay where Patriots jumped out to a 7-0 start.
Yeah.
Nice. Rams outscored them 14-3 the rest of the way, and then we eventually got the final of 28-22. Look, this is the difference between the Patriots being a bad team and a good team. Good teams do what the Rams did.
Yes.
Find ways to win.
That's right.
Coaching puts them over the top.
Not pretty. Yeah.
And that's what was a difference maker. The Patriots, they beat bad teams, Jets, Bears. Matched up with a good team, led by a good coach, that doesn't give you opportunities to win the game.
That's right.
And you can't close them out. So Drake May played all right. I mean, that interception at the end. The strip sack fumble was bad. Yeah. He threw the ball 40 times. Completed 75% of his passes. Great. 282, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Making a lot of good off-platform throws. But again, you see the difference between the Patriots and the Rams. Rams got to have it. It's Kupp. It's Nacua. Big-time plays in Stafford with a big-time throw to a backup tight end in Colby Parkinson. Patriots got to have a game-winning drive. Him and Pop Douglas not on the same page. Drake May took credit for it, took the blame, threw the ball behind Pop. He wasn't even looking.
He wasn't looking. Even
if Pop is looking and that's where the ball's supposed to be, that's going to be incomplete. And that's the issue with your personnel, where Pop Douglas, who is 5'7", my height, is your downfield receiver. On 4th and long, it was 3rd and 6, and then you have a penalty. It pushes you back 5 yards on 4th and long. But also, that's a guy you're targeting downfield. And again, they're not on the same page. Simple execution. Drake May leads them. That moves the chains. Maybe we're having a different conversation. It is an attention to detail that is a difference maker for this team.
Amen. You talked about the combined yardage between Puka and Kupp. Puka Nacua, 7 grabs, a $123 and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 6 grabs, 106, 2 touchdowns, including a backbreaker. I mean, listen, man.
That's nuts. 13 13 catches,
Yes.
229, and 3 touchdowns.
It's literally the have and the have-nots.
Yeah.
Drake May, statistically, he hung in there with Matt Stafford. I mean, it was a comparable game, but this is the difference. Stafford has the horses. Nakua and Kupp alone took over this game, and the Patriots don't have anyone to do that. This is on a day. I thought Kendrick Bourne played well, even though Pop wasn't looking. I thought Pop had some plays. Hunter Henry played well, but they're not to that level of those great receivers. That's why people did say, well, you can't overpay for these receivers in free agency. Why the hell not? Excuse me? I mean, look around at this league. It's a quarterback receiver league. So the Patriots obviously need to improve their offensive line, and they need – this is a kind of game that proves it more than anything.
Yeah.
You got to have some bona fide weaponry for Drake May, because if he's doing this with what he has in these cupboards that are close to bare, if you ask me, imagine if he has a Puka Nakua or he has a Cooper Kupp or both, like Matt Stafford does. It's a whole different ballgame.
And to me, it's like when I point out the coaching, it's beyond a Sean McVay, but it's what they do in developing talent. Because you look at Puka Nakua, 5th round, right? Like that's a guy that is now one of the best number 2 receivers. Tutu Atwell, 2nd round receiver. We obviously know that Cooper Kupp is a later pick. But the way they've developed these guys in big situations, have big catches. Kyron Williams, exactly. It was averaging over 5 yards a rush. Rams dominated the line of scrimmage, playing with a 3rd down right tackle, a 3rd string right tackle. And those receivers, all 2nd or later round picks, is one of the best receiving rooms. It's beyond the Sean McVays. It is how do you draft and how do you develop. And we see the difference in development. Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, 2 rookies for the Patriots. They combined for 37 offensive snaps, 0 targets.
Hey.
Their impact is negative. Javon Baker, bad kick return where he was tackled before the 30, tried to hurdle a guy. Jalen Polk, 4th and short. Do they go for it? I don't know. False start penalty pushes him back, takes him out of even going with the hard count. The impact on the young guys and the receivers by the Patriots, negative. Nothing but positive from the Rams.
Hey, you know what? If anything, the Patriots should take away from this Rams organization with this game, with this loss, you got to first find big-time talent, okay? Whatever that is, like George laid out, it could be late draft picks, it could be free agency, whatever it is, get them in here, okay? Get them in here, and then to his point, develop them. That's what the Rams do, and then you retain them. And look, the Rams are a player every year. They have won Super Bowl in recent memory, obviously, with Matt Stafford, but they're a player every year. I think they're going to be right back in the playoffs again this season. The Patriots can learn a lot from that organization. The NBA season is here, and the big question is, will the Celtics repeat and claim banner 19? You can find everything about the NBA and its culture on Nesson's Basketball Podcast, Hold My Banner. I'm there. I'm turned up. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, let's keep breaking this one down. Let's get into some game balls here for this one. Let's go offensive player of the game, and you know damn well I'm going to Drake May. There were other guys that made plays. I respected that. I actually liked Ramondre's game, even though he didn't go over 100 yards. I have to give Alex Van Pelt some credit here because, George, for weeks I've sat here and said Ramondre Stevenson is not some home run hitter. He's not Saquon Barkley. You can't give him 10, 11 carries, 3 or 4 passes, and he has this great game. It's not who he is.
Yeah.
He's a bell cow. You got to give him carries. Yeah. He had 20 carries in the game. You talked about time of possession. I almost gave this to Ramondre Stevenson, but he didn't break 100 yards, and he damn sure didn't get in the end zone. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and go Drake May here because I thought he stood toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring with Matt Stafford. He came out on the losing end, but outside of that last interception, which you take. I mean, this kid's a gunslinger. He doesn't always take what the defense gives him. He's young. He's trying to make a play. He's forcing it down the field. Outside of that, I thought he played a clean game, and I thought he was terrific.
Yeah, I liked him. I went with Kendrick Bourne.
I respect that.
Active roster last week. He was benched, and he said it himself, like, I need to be on the same page with Drake May. I need to help out my rookie. 5 catches, 70 yards, first touchdown of the season. But continually is there for big catches, like on one of their later drives in the game to keep this one close. I think he played well, and to go from being benched to having that performance. Again, we need to see leaders on this Patriots team and in that locker room. What Kendrick Bourne displayed is what Jalen Polk and Javon Baker have to see. Where, hey, if I get benched and it's because of my performance, I don't take and blame anyone else. I take the proper steps to get back onto the field, play majority snaps, and 5 for 70 doesn't just happen. He's on the same page with Drake May. He corrected his mistakes, and obviously he's playing within the system and playing smart and being on top of his details. So I give it to Kendrick Bourne for game ball, for offensive game ball.
Yeah, he did have a really good game. It was good to see him sort of back in the mix there. Hopefully he can sustain that and be a little more consistent with it. Defensive player of the game, I'm just going Christian Barmore. He didn't really do anything of note in the game, but the fact that he's out there, George. I remember we broke this story of the blood clots, and both of us thought, hey, look, he could be back late season, but likely he's probably going to be out this season. He's back before you or I thought he would be. And the fact that he's even out there, we understand right now he's on a pitch count, right? You're not gonna overdo it. But as the weeks go on, he's gonna be just fine, and then he's gonna be that impact that we're looking for. But I'm going defensive player of the game ball, just for him showing up and being back out there and overcoming what he has to get there, George.
I like that pick. I mean, he played 19 snaps, and like you said, I didn't expect him to play this season, and he did. So I agree. I give a defensive game ball to absolutely nobody. There was no resistance from this defense. They were allowing over 5 yards per carry to running backs once again. Kyron Williams, 15 carries, 86 yards, had his way. Right. And we just saw bad run fills, like Jelani Tavai having Daniel Ukawale move out of the A gap, and then when that happens, literally shifted him at the snap, Jelani Tavai goes on the outside hip of Ukawale, Kyron Williams right up the middle for an 18-yard gain. It's just, there wasn't any execution, lack of adjustments. DeMarcus Covington kept blitzing. Stafford kept doing it, so absolutely nobody.
Bro, you can't give one out there.
No, nobody.
Not even Barmore?
No, you got it. I give it a Barmore. Yeah, congrats. I'm happy he's back. I'm happy he's healthy. But you checked the box.
Yeah. Oh, I did it.
Yeah,
so
you took care.
So now you're looking around the locker room. Anyone else on defense? Look, I'm keeping it.
That's what it is. We both have a ball, right? One says offense, one says defense, one says MVP.
My speech.
I'm holding on to the defense ball, and I'm looking around, and I'm just like, none of you deserve this. None of you deserve this.
You're not wrong. All right, MVP game ball. You got to go Drake May, don't you? Don't you?
So I do.
You have to.
And I'm going very literal with this MVP of – he is
everything.
the most but he's the most valuable player.
Yeah.
And his value is shown in when he drives him downfield, when he scores, making off-platform plays with this really bad defense. But his value shows in the significance he has for this offense. Last 2 plays of the game, bad coverage sack to push them back, and then that interception where him and Pop Douglas are not on the same page at all. He literally is the most valuable player on this team because if he plays well, they thrive. If he plays bad, they stink.
No, it's true. By the way, I gave Alex Van Pelt some credit for having commitment to running the ball.
Yeah.
Last week, we gave credit for the offensive line playing better. So we're getting these little, it's getting a little bit better incrementally. You know what we're still not seeing that both of us have been just screaming from the mountaintops for?
Pass rush?
Well, offensively, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Design run plays for Drake May.
Yeah.
Why?
And I think,
Why?
like Gerard Mayo said, he's like, I don't want him taking hits.
Then teach him to get down or get out of bounds.
It's that or a designed run play. He doesn't have to take a hit.
Right.
A designed run play is Drake. You will have the boundary or the outside, run the ladder, and you'll either get 10 or you'll get 7, but get out of bounds. Exactly.
I would argue,
protect yourself.
I would argue a design run play protects him for him. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. Yeah, and that's why I heard that answer, and I'm like, I get it. You don't want him getting as many more touches than he needs, but he's going to run anyway. I mean, he had 3 scrambles for 27 yards.
Yeah.
One of those being a 16-yard run.
I know.
Like he's going to do it anyway. But the pass rush needs to show up well. Look, 22 pressures, 9 sacks last week. Great job. Bears stink. What did they have? 6 pressures, 0 sacks against the Rams. That's awful.
Want the latest on the Patriots and the NFL? Drake May needs help, and we discuss how he can get it quick, fast, and in a hurry. On Nesson's football podcast, Foxborough Rush, nobody breaks it down like me and George. I mean, even you got to admit that. Come on. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. You know what to do. All right, George, are you ready for some football? A Monday night party.
Yep.
Texans at Jerry's World taking on the Cowboys without Dak. Wah, wah, wah. I think this is a dangerous game for the Cowboys. Let me explain. You know, if you've been noticing in recent years, George, I mean, C.J. Stroud's cool. D'Amico Ryans is cool.
Yeah.
I know he's hurt, but they trade for Diggs. He's cool.
Yeah.
Their stadium's really cool there in H-Town.
Yeah.
Dare I say, I think the Texans have taken a little bit of jurisdiction in Texas away from the Cowboys, who are trending in the complete opposite direction. Dak ain't cool. Okay, I know. Don't let the mattresses and the yogurt commercials fool you. He ain't cool. Okay, he's losing cool points. Jera is 187 years old and losing his marbles.
He's the opposite of cool. He's creepy at this point.
Thank you, CeeDee Lamb. I mean,
I like CD.
I do too, but without Dak. And then Micah Parsons, they're not going to pay him apparently, so I feel like he's going to leave any second.
Or they'll wait to pay him. They have no cap.
I'm telling you, if you notice, I think the Texans and their ascension and their popularity, and they're only getting better.
Yeah.
They're young, they're cool, they dance. I'm just telling you, bro, Cowboys are starting to feel old.
Yep.
Played out. People are getting tired of how come all these shows talk about the Cowboys all day. That's getting played out. The Texans are starting to creep into. I'm just saying. I've been to Dallas. I know how real it is. It's the Cowboys world, okay? And Texas in general is football, but I just think these Texans are starting to. I think they're going to blow these boys out tonight too. They're going to blow the Cowboys out tonight.
And it's in AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys have not won a game yet this season.
They get smoked at home.
Yeah. And it's going to continue to be the same. The defense is terrible.
Yes.
The offense is lost without Dak, who is an MVP candidate quarterback every year. But this year, that whole offense was never able to get on the same page and get in sync. Playing for a lame duck head coach. But like you said, it's just like, it's tired. Everyone's tired of the Cowboys. Everyone's tired of Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these expectations, and they don't meet them. Was I right that I heard you said that the Texans are taking over the jurisdiction, not jurisdiction?
You got that, huh? You
diction
did
like Jerry
that.
Jones. Everyone's tired of Jerry Jones.
Yep.
And I'm not doing a gotcha here. Who's the owner of the Texans?
Well, it was
you don't know.
The McNair family.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still the case.
But you don't know.
No.
And, that's fine.
Well,
no
that
one
guy's
cares.
not a saint either.
No one cares. Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna
Trust
look
me.
that up.
No.
Is it him?
I am not propping up an owner. My point I'm making is we don't know who the owner is.
Yeah.
And, all we care about are the stars on the field. And the Texans have the bigger stars. C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins. That has been the best quarterback-receiver combo when Nico Collins has been healthy in the NFL this season. With their running game led by Joe Mixon. With their young play caller and Bobby Sloak, the head coach, and D'Amico Ryans. This defense, led by Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. and Kamari Lassiter on the back end, Derek Stingley, all these studs. This is it. You're right. The Texans are the bigger name. People are tuning in to watch the Texans. That's what it boils down to. No one is tuning in Monday night saying, I can't wait to see how the Cowboys perform. They're tuning in to say, I can't wait to see how badly the Texans beat the Cowboys.
It is.
And that's the biggest change.
For reference, it's Cal McNair, who's a different McNair than the one I was thinking. I don't know if that's his whole man or not.
Is the other McNair, was he the
that's what I'm saying.
The Titans owner?
Yes.
That was the one that had the... No, it was a Texans owner.
It's not a McNair.
Look, I don't want to sidetrack
You're going to have the Texans fans coming after us. I mean, we're picking them to blow the Cowboys out. We're saying how they're taking some of the Cowboys' popularity there in that Lone Star State, and because we got the owner wrong, they're going to come after us.
It was Bob McNair.
Bob McNair
is the one that had
the Texans.
He's the one that had that awful quote.
So I don't know if Cal is related to him or not. But
the point
we don't know Cal.
Exactly. The fact that we're looking this up, where if you go, who's the owner of the Cowboys? Everyone goes, Jerry. Who's the GM? Jerry. Who's the reason they stink? Jerry. Everyone knows that.
Okay.
And he is the reason they stink.
Let me ask you this. So you agree with me then that the Texans are taking a little bit of sauce from the Cowboys in that state, right? You know that's got to tick Jerry off more than anything in the world. Now, if you get blown out again at home by the Texans, who are right in your backyard, right? I mean, what kind of pressure is now on Mike McCarthy? Because he's already on the hot seat.
He's fired.
He's fired regardless.
His contract's up end of the season.
Yes.
I think he's done.
Right.
If you fire him now, then why did you even bring him back? And that's an awful argument for me to use. But that's how Jerry's looking at this, where it'll be an audition on their last 8 games of the season. Yeah. Whatever they have left. What can you do for me? How do you finish this? But home against the Texans, at the Commanders, where your defense is awful. And the Commanders only lose to good defenses. Shocker. Cowboys don't have one. Giants, Bengals. Again, hosting the Bengals. Joe Burrow's going to put 45 points up on the Cowboys. They're going to win 45-6. At Carolina, that's a loss.
Jeez.
Home against the Bucks, Baker will score on it because Mike Evans will be back. At Philly, home against Washington. They're gonna finish with one home victory this season, and it will be against the Giants, who have just as questionable of a setup as the Cowboys for their future.
If I'm the Cowboys at this point, I just play Trey Lance just to see what the hell I got here.
You should play him.
Play him.
So other teams see what he has, and there is another person out there, like Jerry goes, I want that player because I could fix him, and they have some ego that think they can do it. Only reason you play Trey Lance is because you gave up a 4th-round pick for him.
Did.
And you need to get that at least back.
Yeah.
Awful trade.
Fact. That was a terrible trade. We knew it when it happened, too. All right, let's get into some score predictions because we're talking about we're falling for it. We're doing what every other show does and talking to all the Cowboys here, and they stank.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Texans because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know. There's something missing from that team, and it's not Stephon Diggs. I can't put my finger on what it is.
Offensive line.
Maybe. My guess is they're just not. They're maybe too young and still learning how to win in the league on a big stage, so to speak.
They were ahead of schedule last year.
That's it.
They were picking 2 and 3 overall for a reason.
That could be it because where I'm going here, I don't think they're great at closing games.
Yeah, and
they haven't
young.
figured that out
They're
yet.
young.
Yeah.
Who are the guys I named? C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Will Anderson, Lassiter, Stingley.
Everyone except Mixon.
Caleb Bullock. Like, these are all young guys.
Yeah.
Their best players are really inexperienced.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to keep getting it. And again, this is only year 2 of this timeline with C.J. Stroud.
Right.
If they just fizzle out in the playoffs, it's fine because they have such a long and bright future. So, to your point, that's why they're young. First-time head coach. Well, yeah, second-year head coach. Second-year offensive play caller. They're inexperienced everywhere, but they're ahead of schedule.
They definitely are. I think talent-wise, I've said this to you before. I know you disagree. But talent-wise, I think they're good enough to compete with, to go into a Kansas City, to go into a Baltimore or a Pittsburgh if need be and win those games. The issue I have is betting on them to do so.
Yeah.
Or really believe. I know they can, but really believing that they will when we get to that. I mean, if the Texans go to Kansas City, I'll be the one guy in the back that's not a Texans fan saying, listen, don't sleep on this team. But at the same breath, I wouldn't be shocked if they go in there and lose, right?
Yeah.
I do believe in this team. I want to see them down the stretch. You talk about the Cowboys schedule. So we'll get to the scores in a minute. They're going to smoke Dallas at home. Then listen to this. I mean, at home against Tennessee, they go to Jacksonville. They get a late bye week. I mean, they hit the lottery with this bye week, George. This is exactly the kind of team that needs a late bye week. Recalibrate. They're well coached. Come out of that. Then it gets real. Home against Miami, at Kansas City, home against Baltimore. Those are 3 tough games coming out of that bye, and then you get a cupcake in Tennessee to end the season. So I want to watch this Texans team, not in this game tonight because we know how that's going to go, but down the stretch of their season to really see if they're good enough to do what I say they can do. As far as this game goes, give me Texans 27-13, pure dominance, 27-13, and it doesn't even feel that close.
I like it. I'm 34-14. So
similar.
One more touchdown, same amount they let up.
Yep.
And honestly, Cooper Rush? No, I'll go 34-7. Texans win.
You took away a
one score, yeah. They got nothing on. They can't run the ball, and they can't stop the run.
They stink.
So I like. We both like the Texans to cover clearly.
Yeah,
it's about
I laid
7
all the
point
points.
spread. What I also like this is Joe Mixon, 90-plus rushing yards. It's minus 105, and 90 is a high number.
I like that.
He's coming off his worst outing of the season.
Yeah.
But he had 100-plus yards.
He's good.
Rushing against the Patriots, Packers, Colts, Jets.
He's the truth.
All bad run defenses. This Cowboys run defense is terrible. So I like Joe Mixon 90-plus rushing yards.
Yeah.
Which is what you find on DraftKings at that
As
number.
far as my bet, I'm just laying the points. I saw, it's Texans minus 7.5, depending where you shop. Hell, I'd lay 77, so I have no problem laying the 7 there. Winning bets and watching your football team win every week. We can't help your team, but we can help you make the right picks. Get that money, baby. Tune in to Nesson's Betting and NFL podcast, The Spread. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. All right, GB, set us up for success here. I heard that you got a chance to interview Rob Gronkowski.
The man.
Is this true? And
Great
was it
dude.
everything I dreamed of?
Awesome guy.
Yeah.
And it was like, you get Gronk on, especially like, but he's a guy that came from Buffalo. He knows he's won the lottery, like he grew up
In
just
life.
getting his ass kicked by all his brothers, right? Like smart, never spent a cent of what he made on the field. Again, but how famous he is, how successful he is now at Fox. I'm wondering, hey, I got 10 minutes with Gronk. How will it be? Awesome conversation. What I'll tell you, my favorite were two. His Bill Belichick story, where Bill's calling him out for not being tough, which is you'll hear why.
Wow.
B, where him and the Patriots would get after it in the summer because Gillette is so far away from Boston.
Oh.
Check it out right here.
On November 20th, Rob, congrats on that honor, man. What's it feel like to get that honor of being a part of something so many greats through Boston sports have gone through?
You know, it feels good, man. There's no doubt about that. And there's been so many greats that have been honored. That's a tradition. I mean, we're talking guys from Ted Williams to Larry Bird to David Ortiz to basically all the top New England Patriots over the last 20 years as well. So to be recognized in this category, to be getting this award from the Sports Museum, the tradition of Boston, it's just an honor, man. And I'm excited for the event. I'm excited for the night, and it's going to be a blast, bringing back so many memories of my days in New England.
Yeah, you grew up in Buffalo, by the way. Congrats on being inducted into that Sports Hall of Fame. But obviously spent a lot of your years here in Boston. From growing up in a place where the fans are some of the most passionate in the world to coming to Boston where, again, it's like religion. What sticks with you to this very day of the experience of playing for the Patriots, obviously winning those Super Bowls, but more of being a part of the culture and the fabric of sports here in Boston?
Oh, there's no doubt about it that the whole New England area, the city of Boston, is the #1 sports town in all of America. I tell people that all the time. I played in basically every city on the road. I played in Tampa Bay, which was cool, but it does not compare to the city of Boston. I can tell you that right now. The sports fans, they're passionate, they're loyal, they love their teams, and that's what it's all about. It's not about artists, it's not about singers. It's all about the sports teams in New England and the players. And it's all about the Celtics, the Red Sox, the Bruins, the Patriots. They live and die for their sports teams. And that's what makes New England so special. And that's what makes it so special to go out and play in front of the fans as well when I was there for 9 years.
And certainly some of the smartest fans you'll come across as well. Now, I want to take it back to 2010 for you. You come into the league, you're a rookie for the Patriots, you're 21 years old, you're a Gronk, you're a rock star. Tom, at that point, is 33 on his 11th season. Was there ever a point where you two had doubts of it working out because of the difference of lifestyles? Or right off the bat, it gelled and you guys knew what would happen on the field?
Yeah, we definitely did have difference in lifestyles, especially because of our ages. I mean, I'm 21 years old, should have still been in college, man, acting like a college kid. And he's 33, married, kids, and all that good stuff. But there was one thing that we had in common, and we both wanted to be great on the football field. And when that thing is in common, then you're going to figure it out. It doesn't matter what's going on outside of the football field. So that's what made that chemistry between Tom and myself so special, because we wanted to be great. He wanted to be great. I wanted to be great. The New England Patriots whole organization wanted to be great. So just to be under these, under the wing of just such great coaches and great teammates that were such veterans and so experienced, they brought me to a level that I needed to be at, and they showed me the way. So without him, without Tom, without Coach Belichick, without so many other veterans and great players around me, I definitely would not have been the player that I was when I was playing in the NFL.
And keeping it back to when you first came here to Boston, do you think it was a blessing in disguise that Gillette Stadium and Foxborough was an hour away from Boston, an hour away from the party scene and Southie, or you found your way there anyway? And like we said, man, we saw the results on the field. You made it work anyway.
Yeah, that's funny because every day when we were in Foxborough in the summer after workouts and we were like, Boston's too far, we can't go there, we would just laugh and be like, well, that's why we're one of the best teams in the NFL, because we have no distractions. We're in Foxborough, we're going to bed early, we're going to bed on time, we're getting our sleep, we're getting our rest, and we're getting ready for the next day because there was no distractions. Maybe you went to the local bar that was named Waxy's back in the day in Foxborough, but that's all, or you go to Bar Louie or something, but you go home early. So, yeah, no distractions being in Foxborough, I can tell you that. So that's why we were so great, and we always joked about that.
When you look back on it too, did you feel it in real time that we've seen guys in college that dominate, but then they get to the pros and everyone's on an equal level, I feel like physically. For you, it truly was a just beast amongst men. When you look back on that, did you feel it in real time, the stuff you were doing on the field of it's going to take 6, 7 guys to bring me down on every single play?
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. That was my mentality. And here's a funny story. Scott Zolak, I was in a production meeting with him, and I told him that's going to take a whole entire defense to take me down. And then he went and said that on the broadcast of the preseason game. And then Coach Belichick brought it up to me in the meetings in front of the whole team. He's like, this is what we're saying now. It takes 11 guys to tackle us. And look I saw you get tackled by that guy right there. And everyone just started laughing in the meeting because Coach Belichick liked to keep a tight ship. He liked to keep you humble. So he just wanted to make an example out of me when I was young. Stop saying in the media that takes 11 guys to tackle me because then people are going to come for me. So that was just my mentality, though. I didn't literally mean it takes 11 guys, but that was just my mentality to have when I was going out there. Is I didn't want to be tackled. I was bigger, stronger than everyone out there. That it's going to take everyone to bring me down.
Hey, man, you could say that every time I think of it. It's that one Redskins play where it took literally, I think, guys off the bench to come onto the field to tackle you there. You mentioned the feedback you'd get from Belichick or more of, being called down the meetings. We've always heard about that. Do you, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, keep in touch and check in with each other to compete who's doing the most in the media? Because it even feels like Bill at his age might be lapping even you and Tom with the amount of stuff he's doing.
Well, it's a whole different ballgame now outside of football when you go into the next career. We're all hoping for the best for each other, and we're all under the same house as well. We all learn from each other. My experience in the NFL, I learned a lot from Coach Belichick and Tom Brady, and all that experience that I learned from them, I'm actually using, as an analyst on Sundays and everything like that. And I'm sure that they're using things that they learned from each other as well, being together for so long. So it just shows how much success that we had is that there's like literally 15 guys from the New England Patriots roster that have prominent jobs in the media right now, national media jobs. And I would say that's due to all of our success, all of the hard work that we put in when we were on the Patriots. And that's why we got so many guys like Devin McCourty, Julian, Tom, obviously Coach Belichick just dominating now in his second career in the media. So it's good to see him. We're all just cheering each other on.
Yeah, you're right. That success obviously has propelled so many guys. Julian Edelman, Rob Ninkovich, both the McCourty twins as well, and all of you guys. But now we're looking at this new dynasty in the Chiefs. They're going for a 3-peat. How do you see this Chiefs team stacking up with the dynasty that you guys established in the 2010s?
I mean, it's very similar, man. I feel like they're the Patriots 2.0, man. They definitely have a dynasty. They're dominating 3 Super Bowls the last 10 years. They got head coach Andy Reid, who's like Belichick, runs a tight ship. And then they got Patrick Mahomes, who's like Brady, Travis Kelce, who was like me, Chris Jones, who was like Vince Wilfork. So, I mean, they got so many guys that are similar to the tradition that we had going with the New England Patriots, kind of like the same way. Obviously, it's a little bit different how they run their program there in Kansas City, but just overall, big picture, it's like the Patriots 2.0, and they're absolutely dominating, man. And they're undefeated right now, and you got to give them their props. They're doing things right over there, and they know the game of football inside and out, and that's how you win.
And you mentioned it, and you're right. There's so many mirrors between the two teams, but I got to ask it, and I think it's the best question to ask every time. You are the greatest tight end of all time, but how do you think Travis Kelce stacks up with you?
I mean, we're 2 totally different players, and Travis Kelce, his endurance, I mean, he's been playing a lot longer than me now. There's no doubt about that. He's my age, and he's still going, which is just absolutely incredible. And I always say he's the best receiving tight end of all time. I mean, you can't argue with that. I mean, how many 1,000-plus yard seasons he had in a row, and just how many catches he gets per game, how many first downs. So he's just doing an excellent job, and I'm proud of him, man. I really am. And just the way that he's still going, his legacy is just still growing out there on the football field. It's good to see. And it's just unbelievable just how much he's contributing to the Kansas City dynasty that's going on.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was 16 yards away from 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I'll say it for you. You're the greatest tight end of all time. When you're watching Drake May on the field now, though, how many touchdowns would a 22-year-old Rob Gronkowski score with Drake May as his quarterback?
22-year-old Rob Gronkowski. Well, I scored 18 that year. So I would say I was scored because he's just a young buck. Because Brady knew, Brady was experienced and he knew how to read a player right away. I would say Drake May, he's getting there. So at his rookie season, 22-year-old Rob Gronkowski, I would say I would have 14 touchdowns with Drake May.
All right, hey, that's more than you had your rookie season, but not eclipsing that amazing following year as well. Rob, congrats again on the honor of getting into the tradition. People can find you November 20th at TD Garden for that honor, man. Congrats on everything you accomplished here at Boston. The fans still love you. I think football fans across the country still love you. Appreciate you taking the time, man.
Thank you, man. I'm excited for the tradition, and I can't wait to receive my award. And it's just an honor to be there, man, and recognized with so many great Boston iconic athletes. It's unbelievable.
And hey, you kept it, in line and disciplined when you were down in Foxborough. TD Garden, right outside of Causeway. Plenty of bars to celebrate after.
Well, we got to make up for it being in Foxborough for so long. So let's go, baby. Let's do it.
Congrats again, Rob. Thanks for the time, man.
Thank you.
George, that was tremendous. And my favorite part of the whole thing is that I think maybe we have an after party set up for the tradition now with Rob Gronkowski.
Bro. That'd be awesome. Can you imagine like a random summer night 2011, you're at Waxy O'Connor's just having beers with your friend and like Gronk walks in, Julian Edelman.
No, I can't
at that point.
I cannot imagine that at all.
You hear it too. I believe him.
I do too.
I believe him with the Foxborough.
Yeah.
Offseason they found their way to the Seaport.
Of course.
I don't know if the Seaport was the thing yet. They found their way to Southie.
They did something, yeah.
But he goes, got to make up for being a Foxborough,
Absolutely.
man. It's like a cheat code of being in Green Bay or New England.
Facts.
Is that you're so far away from the actual
You're locked
city.
in.
Less distractions.
Hey, great job interviewing
Appreciate
too.
that.
You do
Good
a great
dude.
job interviewing.
I appreciate it. Good dude.
He is.
Like,
He is.
I was very impressed because you see the Gronk on TV and even watching him lately on Sundays, you see he's a smart guy.
He is.
But he's brilliant that let me lean into being Gronk and being a frat star and a rock star because it's gotten him paid so much more than he ever expected.
Well, special thanks to Gronk and special thanks to you for rolling with us on Boston Has Entered
and
the
shout
Chat.
out the tradition November 20th.
That's right.
At TD Garden.
We'll be in the building as well. Hey, Boston Has Entered the Chat. That's a wrap for us here inside the PNC Bank studio. For Travis Thomas and George Malecki, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Later.